At the dawn of rock and roll, few names were as synonymous with revolution as Kiss, but behind the fire, blood, and glittering face paint, there existed a storm of tension that simmered for decades. Ace Frehley, the original Spaceman, who once shared the stage with Gene Simmons as part of the legendary Kiss lineup, now opens the door to a world few were ever meant to see. This is the story of Gene Simmons, the man behind the mask, the secrets, the battles, and the cost of being a rock legend. Before we dive into this untold story of Kiss and its controversial frontman, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up if you want more deep dives into the lives of your favorite rock stars. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Tell us what you think about Gene Simmons, his legacy, and the behind-the-scenes drama. Now, let's get into it. Picture this: Ace Frehley, the iconic Spaceman of Kiss, finally breaking his silence. The rock world watches, not just with curiosity, but with disbelief, as Frehley reveals long-held secrets about his tumultuous relationship with Gene Simmons, the man behind the infamous demon persona. It's a moment years in the making, candid account of frustrations, betrayal, and a battle for control within one of rock's most iconic bands. For years, fans speculated about the underlying tensions in Kiss, and now, the truth begins to surface. Ace doesn't hold back, exposing a side of Simmons no one expected to hear, driven not by mere fame, but by a deep hunger for power, dominance, and the need to control everything, even the essence of the band itself. Frehley's words are a window into a broken dynamic, one that reveals how quickly even the brightest stars can burn out when greed and ambition start to consume them. Why this matters? It's not just about rock and roll rivalries, it's about the human side of these larger-than-life figures. As a fan, we don't always see what happens behind the curtain of fame and fortune. Frehley's honesty gives us a rare, unfiltered glimpse into that darkness, showing how power struggles can shape and shatter legendary friendships. When you think of Kiss, you think of grandeur, of fire-breathing guitars, of legends being made on stage. But behind that spectacle, there was often friction. While the world saw a united front, Frehley and Simmons were constantly at odds. For Frehley, who was driven by a passion for music rather than a thirst for business domination, the endless battles for creative control were suffocating. Simmons, ever the businessman, demanded total control over the band. Every album, every tour, every deal it had to pass through his fingers first. As Kiss's empire grew, so did the power dynamics, and Ace quickly felt his influence slip away. The days of collaboration and camaraderie gave way to arguments, resentment, and, eventually, feeling like an outsider in the very band he helped build. Frehley wasn't just being pushed out creatively, he was being pushed out of Kiss itself. This wasn't just a battle over music, it was a battle over identity. Frehley saw Simmons's push for domination as a way to turn the band into a brand, more focused on the dollar signs than the soul of the music. The man who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Simmons, creating rock anthems that would go on to define a generation, now found himself struggling to keep his artistic integrity alive amid Simmons's thirst for more control. Deepening the emotional tension, imagine the sense of betrayal Ace must have felt. The very man who had shared late nights in the studio, crafted guitar solos that would echo for decades, now facing the cold reality that the band he built wasn't just a band anymore, it was a business, and he was increasingly being sidelined as an employee rather than a co-founder. Gene Simmons was never just a musician. He was a master of branding, a businessman who knew how to turn every note into a dollar. But while his ambition built Kiss into a juggernaut, it also fractured relationships. Simmons was notorious for controlling every aspect of the band's business dealings, from the merchandising to the way Kiss presented itself to the world. Simmons didn't just want to make music, wanted to own every piece of it. From the Kiss logo to every action figure, every tour shirt, and every concert ticket, Simmons turned Kiss into an empire where he was both the architect and the king. But even more than that, he wanted to define the band's entire identity. Every creative choice, from the fire-spitting guitars to the blood capsules he famously used during shows, was meticulously planned, managed, and owned by Simmons. No decision was too small to escape his control. Frehley, with his rebellious spirit and passion for rock and roll, found this suffocating. He was an artist, not a businessman. But it wasn't just the money that caused friction, it was the way Simmons viewed their success. For Simmons, the band's mythology was an extension of his own personal legacy. For Ace, It was a creative collaboration that was being hijacked by the need to control every single detail. Deeper reflection. This tension between art and commerce is a theme that transcends Kiss. It speaks to the larger battle every artist faces when success begins to shift the focus from passion to profit. What happens when your art is no longer just yours? What happens when fame is no longer a byproduct, but the sole reason for creating? Away from the stage and the flashing lights, Simmons's personal life was as complicated and fractured as his professional one. His long-term relationship with actress and model Shannon Tweed seemed to offer the world a glimpse of stability in the chaos of his rock star life, but behind closed doors, the cracks were widening. For years, Simmons reveled in his reputation as a notorious playboy, always chasing the next conquest while leaving Tweed to pick up the pieces of their relationship. The tabloids were quick to expose every infidelity, every rumored affair, but behind the headlines, there was a woman who fought to keep her family together. Tweed, a woman of grace and strength, found herself at odds with Simmons's insatiable appetite for attention and validation, struggling to reconcile the love she had for him with the constant emotional toll of his behavior. The reality television show Gene Simmons' Family Jewels provided an unexpected lens into their world. What started as a light-hearted family chronicle quickly became an unfiltered look at the cracks in Simmons's persona. The show revealed a man who often deflected difficult conversations with humor, while Tweed's silent discontent told a far different story. Their children, born into the circus that was the Simmons empire, often seemed trapped in the shadows of their father's overwhelming fame, struggling to find their own identities amidst the spectacle. Additional layer. It's easy to see the glitz and glamour of a rock star's family life from the outside, but reality often tells a different story. The emotional toll on Tweed was immense. She was living a double life, the public figurehead of a power couple, and behind the scenes, a woman grappling with her partner's inability to prioritize her and their family. Gene Simmons may have built an empire, but at what cost? While Kiss became one of the biggest rock bands of all time, Simmons's obsessive control over the band and over his personal life left a trail of burned bridges. His relationships with former bandmates, especially Peter Criss, were often strained, with accusations that Simmons had rewritten the band's history to fit his narrative. Even with his longtime collaborator Paul Stanley, Simmons's need to dominate often led to power struggles. Behind their public image of friendship and unity, insiders knew that the tension was palpable, with Stanley growing frustrated at Simmons's inability to separate business from personal relationships. And it wasn't just within the band. Simmons's pursuit of fame and fortune led him to chase every business opportunity, whether it was launching ill-fated reality shows, restaurant chains, or various commercial ventures. But through all of his successes, the question remained, was it all worth it? Expanding the tension, Simmons's need to control didn't just strain personal relationships, it built walls around him. In his quest for dominance, he alienated the very people who helped him build his empire. Kiss's success wasn't just the product of Simmons's ambition, it was the result of a collective effort. Yet, his drive for control made it harder to appreciate the contributions of others. Gene Simmons stands as one of the greatest icons in rock history, a man whose ambition reshaped the music industry, but his legacy is one of undeniable complexity. For all the millions of albums sold, for all the Kiss merchandise flooding the market, there is a deeper, darker side to Simmons' story, a man who sacrificed personal connections in his relentless pursuit of success. As we look at Simmons's life, his rise to fame, his unyielding control over Kiss, his turbulent personal life, it becomes clear that greatness comes with a price. A price that not only costs relationships, but sometimes leaves even the most powerful feeling profoundly empty. And for all his triumphs, Simmons's story is a reminder that even the most legendary figures have their battles. Behind the mask, there's a man who is just as vulnerable as anyone else, a man who paid a steep price for his relentless ambition. So, what do you think? Was Gene Simmons's drive for fame and power worth the personal cost? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about the legends behind the music. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Until next time, keep rocking.